What do you think makes a bully?
Someone who teases kids and beats them up, I guess.
Something that happens, probably something that happened in his life, really. It's not one thing, it's just something that he been through. Just makes him pissed off at the world, man.
Yeah, he's trying to take that anger out on other people.
Was probably either abused when they were younger or was brought up that way when they were younger by their parents.
A bully will make somebody that teases people that's like smaller than them or that they know they could take advantage of.
Always teasing on somebody for no reason. Just trying to get the attention because they don't get it often.
Someone who wants to be better than someone else, but they're not. And they try to make themselves feel superior.
Someone that's really insecure, person doesn't have a very good life.
It makes people feel good about themselves when they bully people around, and I think it's really common for people to do that.
I don't know, it's just every day. There's always a bully. Maybe not like a big bully that picks on everybody, but somebody else bullies somebody else. Like, give me that seat, give me that milk, like they do whatever.
I think it depends where you grow up and what school you come from, because I've been through a couple school systems myself, and I've been through some bad ones and some good ones, and I think it just varies of what neighborhood you live in.
Have you ever bullied anybody?
Yeah, but not trying to be too mean, just you have to sometimes. But you feel bad afterwards, so that's how, you don't want to be the one getting called a bully, so you stop.
Well, there's this one kid in school, I don't go to regular school, so he used to be really annoying, so we used to throw him in garbage cans and lock him in the stalls and stuff like that. It's not really right. Pick on people smaller than you, so.
It's not, I don't know, it's just not right.
Have you ever experienced bullying at school? Were you a victim?
Yes, I've been jumped in school. I've been through a few fights myself.
Yeah, who hasn't? It's part of it.
Oh yeah, everyone has. It's just, it's like a thing in school. Everyone's bullied.
Have you ever bullied anyone else?
I try not to, but me and my friends make fun of each other as a joke. But I try not to.
According to the Education Resources Information Center, bullying typically consists of teasing, taunting, threatening, hitting, or stealing.
These direct behaviors are initiated by one or more aggressors against a victim or victims.
In addition to direct attacks, bullying may also be indirect, such as spreading rumors that cause victims to be socially isolated.
What makes a bully?
But more importantly, how do we stop the bully?
That is what we will be talking about today on our show, Bullies and Bullying. Hi everyone, I'm John.
And I'm Alicia.
And this is Real Faith TV.
We met some teens on the street in our opening segment. We will talk with them again, and also with our studio guests about bullies and bullying.
But first, let's meet our spotlight guest, Matt. He was bullied throughout much of his elementary school years.
Next, he will tell us about the abuse he had to face almost on a daily basis from bullies.
I grew up kind of not like people didn't like me too much. Because I listened to different types of music, I watched different type of movies, and they would hurt me, they would curse at me, they would make me feel bad, and there was times where I would miss school for 2 weeks at a time just because of that, and it really hurt a lot. We had that big snowstorm back in '96, and I remember them they constantly were just pushing me in the snow because I'm the type of person who won't fight back regardless of whoever's doing it, and they heard me and they would make fun of me. They would say oh, you're gonna grow up having no friends, you're gonna kill yourself eventually. I mean, that type of thing happened. Hurt a lot. I mean, I always felt inside maybe this isn't what's good for me. Maybe I'm just meant to kill myself because people were just saying all that stuff to me. They would hurt me so much. Or again, I would just miss school, or I would just just cry at home. Just feel terrible.
Why do you think you were a target for bullies?
I guess because in their eyes, I'm just not what the world sees as acceptable. I'm not I don't look like every normal guy. Where I don't listen to the same music, or I don't watch the same movies, or everything, people just don't see me as acceptable.
Have you ever witnessed someone else being bullied? How did you respond to that?
I mostly just stand around because I'm afraid that, they're going to start picking on me if I say something. And, I really want to help out, but I'm just too afraid.
Studies have shown that as many as 7% of America's 8th graders stay home at least once a month because of bullies.
Being bullied often leads to depression and low self-esteem, problems that can continue into adulthood.
Let's meet our studio guests and find out what kind of experiences they have had with bullies.
Okay, with us today we have Nicole. Crystal, Sarah, John, Powell, Catherine, and Meredith.
Have any of you ever been bullied or witnessed someone else being bullied?
Yeah, like all the time. You know, I used to be bullied all the time, and I just completely got desensitized to it, you know. And I actually had this friend, and she'd been bullied all the time. She was actually suicidal, and this one person actually said to her, you know, you should just go home and commit suicide. And that night, she did. It was crazy like that, yeah. Not good.
She committed suicide?
Yeah.
That's terrible. It's really terrible. It shows that bullying is a real problem in our society. And, you know, you guys might have been, you know, just turning on your TV and seeing, bullying, not a big deal, you know, just joking around. Well, this girl lost her life because of it, so I think it's a pretty serious topic.
It's so unfortunate when we hear the stories of how far bullying sometimes goes, but I think that even on levels as close to ourselves and to our homes, we can relate to being bullied. And I know myself, you know, being bullied, you just think to yourself, I didn't really do anything to provoke this. I'm just going about my life, hanging out with my friends, things like that. And for some reason, somebody feels as if they have the right and the need to make me feel like I'm nothing. And it really makes you feel so bad, and it makes you think about yourself as less sometimes because, you know, instead of having someone support you and reassure you, you have somebody tearing you down constantly, and it's just so hard for the people that have to go through that, especially on a daily basis.
And I think most bullies, like Matt was saying, like, I think a lot of times they really do have really low self-esteem, and, you know, maybe something has happened at home, and I think you do have to take that into consideration and take it with a grain of salt if, like, you're getting made fun of or, you know, whatever's happening to you, if you're getting, like, abused or something by a bully. I think you have to take it into consideration that everyone's away for a certain reason, you know what I mean? Like, you have to think about their background and, like, where they come from and what's going on at home and stuff like that. But it was really disheartening when he said, you know, he'd like to stick up for those people, but he feels like inadequate to the bully, so he's not going to say anything, you know, to stick up for someone or what he believes in, and I think that's really sad.
Mm-hmm. One of my really good friends, I'm not really friends with him anymore, but for some reason he turned into like this big bully, and he would just start nagging on people for no reason over the stupidest things too. And it like broke my heart to see him like change this way, and it definitely was not for the better. And the people that he would pick on, like I was friends with them, and it was just like crazy how he could just change their lives over the stupidest things, like because he would just keep nagging them over and over.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of sad, but like a bully in grammar school has so much power. The biggest, like, loudest kid, he can control like your destiny in grammar school. I know kids that I'm good friends with now, but back in 5th and 6th grade and stuff, you know, the bullies picked on him, and, you know, I was different back then. I wanted to be popular, you know, I was naive. And like, I wasn't friends with them. And I ended up becoming friends with them when I realized that the bully just like destroyed them and made them nothing during grammar school, and they're really nice kids. And, you know, it's scary how much power a bully has, and we really have to like solve the problem if you're being bullied.
It almost comes to the point where it's like a microcosm of like a communist dictatorship or something, you know, like there's the point where like the bully becomes almost so powerful that he could like say almost anything and people would be too afraid to do anything about it, you know.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly why they do it, because as Nicole said, they have low self-esteem and they make you feel inferior, and that's what makes them feel better about themselves, and that's what makes them have some type of self-esteem. But Eleanor Roosevelt once said, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. And I think that's where we need to kind of get into how do you support people, how do you stop bullies, and how do you make people that are bullied feel better about themselves? Because I know, and I'm sure many of you know, that being bullied just makes you feel so awful and it makes you feel so low. And you just need to draw from God's love and realize that you're not a worthless person just because one person decided that they need to tell you that on that particular day.
It's almost like they have no self-esteem, and they're actually, you know, they feed off the person's low self-esteem as well, you know. It's almost like they smell your fear type of thing.
Bullying is an act of violence because it threatens the well-being of another.
It is wrong because it undermines the value of human life.
It takes away the sense of security and self-worth that people need to live and grow.
Violence causes people to withdraw from one another and live in fear.
What have you done when you witness someone else being bullied?
Did you try to help the person or try to get help for them? Or did you just watch?
What do you think Jesus would say to the bully or the victim?
That's what we asked the teens on the street.
Let's check it out.
Have you ever witnessed anyone getting bullied, and have you done anything to help them or stop it?
Yeah, I saw somebody one time in the bathroom getting bullied. None of that toilet stuff, but you know, have him in the corner. I felt bad for him because I knew who he was, so told him to leave him alone. Left him alone like that.
There was a kid in my school. He's like different from everyone else, and he just what people call a geek. And yeah, people always make fun of him, and sometimes I tell the guys who make fun of him to stop, because you know, if ever that happens to you, think about it.
Have you ever witnessed someone being bullied?
Yeah,
Did you interfere or ignore it?
I watched.
I think I pretty much ignored it, I guess.
I think I ignored it.
No, I laughed at him.
I don't really try to do anything about it if it's not my business, but if it's one of my friends, I'll try and help them.
There's so much hazing and kids get picked on by the older kids that you really can't stop it. And if you try to, you'll probably be the victim next.
What do you think could be done to help stop it?
More like protection in schools, I guess.
I think the teachers should just watch over carefully what the older students are doing to the younger students, because it's a lot in high school.
You can't prevent bullying. It's gonna happen. I mean, if you need somebody to watch over you all the time, then you're never gonna survive. So you got to do it yourself.
What do you think Jesus might say to the victim?
Please forgive the bully and give him another chance, because he might not be that bad. So.
What do you think might say to the bystander, like the person watching?
He might be a little angry at him that he never tried to do anything, but I think he would forgive everyone and give everyone a second chance.
What do you think Jesus might say to the victim?
Hold on, be strong. Just fight through.
Fight back.
No,
Fight
not
back.
fight back. Forgive and forget.
And keep your head up.
Just be strong.
Keep your head up. Don't give up.
I think fight back. Nah, Jesus didn't fight back because he had a policy of peace, man.
What?
Jesus didn't fight. That was his policy.
You know, that guy is right. Jesus wouldn't have encouraged him to fight. But if it was happening to someone else, he wouldn't have stood by and watched it happen.
Bystanders can play a critical role in preventing violence among young people if they get involved.
But just as it takes courage to stand up for yourself if you are a victim, it takes almost as much courage to stand up for someone else, or at least to get them help.
But as Christians, it is in our obligation to reach out to the lowly and oppressed.
How have you guys reacted when you witnessed someone being bullied by someone else?
I know when my friend was bullying people, at first I was kind of afraid to stand up to him because he was one of my best friends. I didn't want him to not like me anymore because I was disagreeing with what he was doing. And then I would just see the look on these people's faces, and then I stood up to him. I was like, that's really wrong. And at first he didn't really care because, it was just one person going out against him, and he got so big-headed. And then after a while he realized that he wasn't so cool anymore, that none of his really close friends were still talking to him. So that really helped the situation by telling him, or telling the bully that what they're doing isn't right. It's not so cool to make fun of other people. So then he realized everything, how it was affecting everybody and himself too. So then he kind of gave it up.
Yeah, well, like I said before, I've been bullied since I was really little, so I'm almost completely desensitized to it now. So if I see someone else being bullied, what I'll actually do is I'll do something really stupid, or I'll say some stupid comment, and they'll actually put it on me. It's not exactly the best thing to do, but I hate to see other people being bullied. It's one of the worst things in the entire world, because I know how it feels,
Yeah, I saw this boy getting bullied at my school when we were in 4th grade. And they picked on him because his clothes were neat and because he talked proper and he wore glasses and he was really smart. And it was one of the dumbest kids in the class that picked on him, and pretty much you could see it was jealousy. And I would see the boy cry sometimes, and one time it got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore, and I stepped in, and that made the boy feel better. And they didn't pick on him as much anymore, but they still did. And it's just not right.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of bullying going on too. There's a person who's openly homosexual in my school, and you know, I go to all boys school, so he got a lot of, you know, like comments and things thrown in his face and stuff like that because, you know, the guys in my school are pretty protective because we get called gay a lot and stuff like that. So there's a lot of anxiety over it, and I have to give him a lot of credit for coming out and like, you know, openly saying he was homosexual. So instead of making fun of him, I actually gave him some respect because, you know, it takes a big man to do that. So I was being nice to him and everything, and then some of my best friends started making fun of him, and I had to make a choice between this innocent kid who did nothing wrong, you know, he was just being himself, and, you know, my best friends for many years. And I ended up sticking with the kid who was homosexual because I just, you know, how could I sleep at night if I let that kid be picked on? And, you know, especially in today's day and age, who knows what would have happened? He could have killed himself, someone could have killed him, he could have become crazy, you know. It's just, it's too much at risk, you know, to bully people.
And those people are so vulnerable. I think if anybody reaches out a hand to them and says, I believe that you're a person that's, you know, has a lot of worth, and I believe that, you know, you're a great person, just like Jesus views you as a great person, and just, you know, I love you the same way I love myself because that's how, you know, I've been commanded to do by my God, then I think that that's enough for that person maybe to pull through. And maybe that could prevent people, you know, taking their own lives or kind of withdrawing from society or not achieving their full potential just because somebody else decides to cut them down. So I think as hard as it might be to kind of step outside of our, you know, group at school or something like that, just reaching out a hand, you know, maybe saying something to a bully like, why are you doing this? What is this getting for you? Why is this making you feel so big? Just doing something like that would help that person so much and maybe even save a life.
Yeah, if people knew how much other people cared about them, they'd feel more better. Like my friend, if she had known how many people had tried to show up for her funeral, maybe she wouldn't have killed herself.
I know. If one person can reach out a hand to a victim of bullying, it can make such a big difference. So as hard as it might be to stand up to that bully, let that be us. Let us have the strength to do that.
If you are a victim, it may help to reflect on Jesus' own suffering. He experienced the most extreme physical and emotional pain when he was taunted, beaten, and crucified. If anyone could understand your pain, it is Jesus.
Next, Matt tells us about how his faith and relationship with Jesus helped him get through the difficult time he had dealing with bullies.
I remember growing up when I was getting bullied around, one of the priests saw me and he saw it happening and he broke up the fight that was going on, and he said to me, you know, do you pray, man? I said, you know, occasionally I do, but not as much as, you know, I really should. And he said, why don't you pray to God to stop, you know, what's going on in your life, stop the bullying. So I took his advice and I did, and, you know, it turned out that, you know, it really worked out for me. It just, you know, took it some time. But I think I had to come to my own, like, senses and realize that what was going on, you know, was crap, you know. People were saying this stuff to me. Who were they to say it to me? I mean, Jesus gave me a life for a reason. And, growing up, I grew up in a very Catholic family. I always went to Mass, and I always had that sense of Jesus. You know, my faith was always there. Talked to some of my family members about what was going on, and they would say, you know, that's stupid. Why are you going to kill yourself? I mean, because I had a lot going for me at the time. I was, you know, doing well in school. You know, I had like really good family, really close people I'm friends with still. You know, and they just showed me like there's, you know, the more weighs out the few. You know, I had a lot going for me, and you know, if I have a few punks, you know, coming up to me and say, you know, you should kill yourself, you have no future, you know, I shouldn't be afraid of it at all. They, you know, the friends and family just showed me, you know, there was a lot more to live for. Someone may be bigger than you and may want to push you around and punch you, but all you got to know is just that Jesus is with you. And he went through everything you could ever think of going to the cross. He went to hell and back. He got crucified. He got mocked. He went through hell. And knowing that, you know, regardless of who's yelling at me or making fun of me or cursing at me, you know, he's always there right beside me, and there's no reason to be afraid anymore. Jesus Christ has done a lot of wonderful things in my life, and one of the things is he's put so many wonderful people into my life. A lot of friends that I've known for years, some I've just met in the past few years, but they show me, you know, the love that they have for me just by the way they talk to me, or treat me, or, you know, we'll go out to eat, we'll go hang out, and thinking about the past, you know, what people used to say about me, and it just shows that it wasn't true at all.
It's great that Matt has a support system that he can use to draw strength and kind of live his life despite the taunting of bullies. And it's also great that he can look to the example of Jesus and see that Jesus died for us, Jesus was taunted, Jesus could have stopped all of it, but he was strong and he looked to the Father and he realized that there were many people that loved him and that he was a person of a lot of worth that was going to do wonderful things for the world.
I think religion can be a great escape for people who are bullied because they can look at Jesus and find comfort in the fact that, well, they can relate to him because of what he went through and how he was bullied. And that's a good escape for them, and knowing that someone else is going through that and that he overcame it. So I think that's important to look at.
I think faith helps you a lot. Like if you go to funerals, I know a song they play there is like "Be Not Afraid," and I think that song has a lot of good meaning for like this bully topic, because if you are afraid of them, then it's not going to help you. But if you're not afraid, then God will help you to overcome that bully and to move on.
Yeah, the thing about bullies is that they want to have control over you, so just don't let them. You know, if they make a joke about you, just laugh about it. You know, whatever, no big deal. Yeah.
You've got God on your side, so
Yeah.
who can be against?
Yeah, the trick is you'll always have a friend in Jesus. You know, like when you're left and you're all alone, Jesus is the one standing right next to you. You know, like if you think about that, you'll always have someone with you, even when you think everyone has abandoned you.
And you can always pray to God, pray that he can help the bullies see that this isn't the right path to be taking, and that should help a lot. And also pray to God that you can get through this because you can.
I also think that, you know, there's good in every one of us, and there's like a spirit within us that's telling us the right and the wrong thing to do. And I think, you know, when we come to terms with that and when we realize that God is with each and every one of us, that we can be that person, you know, that comes out and stands up for people, even if it's not for yourself, if you're going to do it for other people, because I think that's what we were put here for. We should stand up for people. We should stand up for what's right, and we should, you know, protect our faith, which is, you know, doing good and being good.
And on the other side of that, the bullies out there should see that when they're making fun of someone, that person has Jesus inside of them, because we all do. We're all God's children. And I mean, you're making fun of God. Would you want to be doing that? Obviously not, because that person is God's child, and so are you. And he made you to respect others, and he made others to respect you. So if they look at it that way, then why would they make fun of another person?
Also, what you have to remember is we are Jesus' hands and feet and mouth on earth, and you know, we, especially, you know, as people of faith, have to show that to the world, that, you know, this is what Jesus would do, this is how Jesus would act. And, you know, we have to be the person there defending the person who is being bullied, or putting a hand out to the person who doesn't have that many friends, or, you know, that kind of stuff.
Jesus does teach us to turn the other cheek.
But we must also seek relief for the victim of bullying.
We have to be creative and find nonviolent ways to stop the bully from bullying.
What are some ways you guys think we can stop the violence and stop bullies from becoming bullies before they do?
Well, I know in the middle school in my town, they've already started a couple programs, peer groups, and the students at the school have to sign a form the first day of school, or first week of school, saying that they will treat others the way they want to be treated, and it really helps. And also they have a system where they anonymously tell like the principal or the guidance counselor about bullying and things that have been happening in school. I think that's a great way to stop bullying and get it under control.
They did the same at my school that I just graduated from. The hazing was a big problem there. Like seniors used to bully a lot of freshmen and sophomores, and you know, it just became a big problem. And we realized that we're a Christian school, and we're here because of Jesus and God. And you know, like, why are we picking on people? And pretty much the school decided, my freshman class decided that when we become seniors, we're going to stop this hazing stuff because it's stupid. You know, we came here to get a good education and to learn about Jesus and to become as much like him as we possibly could be. That's why our parents paid to put us in this institution. Why are we bullying other people? So I think that a lot of students are realizing that bullying is not like the right thing to do, and they're changing it themselves.
I think we also have to start at, you know, the individual person. Analyze what's going on, like I said before, and I'm being repetitive about this, but you find most of the time in like most of the bullying instances, that it doesn't just, come out of nowhere. Of course, they've probably been hurt in the past, or, this runs in their family, or maybe they even have like a psychological disorder or something. And you really need to find that out. And, if there's one particular person or an individual, you should really talk to someone, in the school about it, or get them help, because by you getting them help, you're not only helping yourself and the people that they've made fun of in the past, you're helping that person. So I think both people win. I think you win both ways.
Yeah, just talk to the bully, because you don't know what happened to him like in his past.
Maybe
So
he's hurting on the inside.
yeah,
Big
so you
problem.
might as well just help him, and you never know, you could be like best friends later, because you're the only one who ever cared for him.
And when you get someone to confront that person, or you confront them yourself if it's safe, then you can prevent other things from happening. You can prevent, as Nicole said, other people from being hurt. You can prevent extreme cases, such as the incident at Columbine, things like that, because when a person's picked on repeatedly, it takes a toll on them, and it also takes a toll on the bully. So if you can stop it, if you can communicate and use the strength that God gives you to kind of use yourself as a minister to these people, both the bully and the victim, then you can make a lot of people's lives better.
Here are some other tips for victims of bullies from the Colorado Anti-Bullying Project.
Try to stay away from the bully.
And if the bully doesn't stay away, then ignore him or her and walk away.
The bully wants to get you mad, so don't.
Talk to your parents, a teacher, or another adult you trust.
Tell them exactly what is happening and write everything down.
Avoid bad situations.
Walk with someone. Don't be alone in the hallways.
Make friends. Join groups of teens who like the same things you do.
Project confidence. Try not to act scared. If you believe in yourself, others will notice.
Don't get mad. Get funny. Shows you're not scared.
If you want to know more about bullying and ways to stop it, log on to our website.
We will post links to sites on this topic.
Our address is realfaithtv.com.
Or call us at 609-406-7402.
We would like to leave you with these thoughts on violence from John M. Smith, Bishop of Trenton.
We are saddened by small acts of violence that grow and grow. The teasing, the name-calling, mocking, gossip, rumors, vandalism, fighting, which lead to the extremes of violence.
Whatever the case, we know that even as young people, you have choices.
You have the power as Christians to forgive as Jesus did, to turn the other cheek rather than returning violence for violence.
With the help of Jesus, who himself experienced a tragic death by violence, we all have the power to change our world, both you and I together.
So let's all work together and encourage respect.
That is great advice from Bishop Smith.
Yeah, let's all keep that in mind.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time
on Real Faith TV.
God bless.